35岁，月薪才3500。
I'm 35 and I only make $500 a month, not much money. Now I'm going to lose my job and I don't even have $500 left. Why is it so hard? I'm going to look for a job. At 35, do you still dare to go for an interview? I'm afraid of people asking me, are you married at this age? Do you have children? You say you're single and don't have children. Oh my God, who would dare hire you?
我的天呀，谁敢用你？
我确实是一个很失败的大学本科毕业生。
I'm genuinely a complete failure as a college graduate. After graduation, I entered the workforce full of enthusiasm, but I was immediately met with a cold shoulder. I really couldn't find a job. Is it true that college graduates are unemployed upon graduation? It's not that I couldn't find a job, but I spent over a decade studying and finally got into college, only to find a job that paid $420 a month. My parents worked extremely hard to save for my college education, but the jobs I ended up finding didn't pay as much as they had hoped. If I had performed poorly in school and failed to gain university admission, I would have been able to live a predictable life with peace of mind. But now I can't help but feel a little unwilling to settle.
但是现在的我多少有点不甘心。
看看我们家这高级工程师，被裁员了35%。
Look at our family senior engineer. He was laid off at 35 and is now working in the food delivery industry. The other day, he bought a helmet along with the necessary gear, including sleeves and gloves. But when it's too hot, he doesn't go. When it rains, he doesn't go. If he's in a bad mood, he doesn't go. If the orders pay too little, he doesn't go. Last month, he only made $140. What are we supposed to do about that?
上个月就跑了1000块钱，咋整啊？你说咋整啊？
Today, I mustered up the courage to tell my dad that I'm about to graduate from graduate school but haven't found a job yet. I've been struggling for a long time over whether to tell him or not because I know he can't help me with my job search. Besides, making him worry, he won't have any real impact on me. But after struggling for so long, I finally decided to tell him because I wanted to hear his opinion. As China's economy continues to weaken, the employment situation has become increasingly severe, far exceeding expectations. Even graduates from top universities once considered golden brands are now frequently facing obstacles in their job search, with both large and small companies being reluctant to hire them. I'm a class of 2025 graduate. After receiving my diploma on June 6, 20 days have already passed. During this time, I considered whether to leverage my recent graduate status to apply for civil service or public institution jobs. But after thinking it through, I decided it's better to look for a regular job first. After interviewing with several companies, the offers I got were a base salary of just $350 a month, with a 3-month probation period. But right now, just renting a 1-bedroom with a bathroom already costs me $140 a month, which is more than 1/3 of my salary. The blogger said that when she first graduated, her mood was excellent. She felt that she had finally left campus behind, could earn her own money, travel, and hang out with friends. But reality turned out to be completely different from what she imagined. She feels she is facing an unprecedented level of confusion and pain in her life. In the past, whenever she saw people crying, she always wondered what there was to cry about. But now, when she meets up with friends, she often zones out in a daze. Thinking about her current situation, she sometimes can't help but shed tears. It might sound unbelievable, but I really feel like I can't keep a straight face anymore. The repeated failures hit me so hard, the frustration is overwhelming, and the anxieties makes me want to cry. Has anyone else experienced a string of failed interviews? Sometimes the interviewer's questions aren't even that hard, but I still get stuck. And then, of course, the outcome is obvious. I don't get the job. I suppose people are like that sometimes. You already know deep down that you're not good enough, and you even rehearse the interview scenes over and over in your head. But when the rejection actually comes, the weight of it feels suffocating. The blogger said that after each failure, she asks herself, am I really this useless? After every interview, she tries to readjust her mindset, telling herself that getting a job also depends on timing and luck, and that she failed because she wasn't fully prepared or didn't perform well enough. But after so many setbacks, she wonders whether holding on like this will really make any difference. As a class of 2025 graduate, I spent 3 months going through interviews with 30 to 40 companies. I experienced having an offer from a startup withdrawn, even got scammed on rent. But finally, in July, I landed a job I really wanted. The blogger summed up some lessons from her job hunting journey. She said, "My advice is to send out as many resumes as possible, attend as many interviews as you can, and review your performance immediately after each one. When it comes to job hunting, you really have to be bold. Don't worry that sending too many applications will get you ignored. For me, it was only because I sent out a massive number of resumes that I got so many interview opportunities. And definitely make sure to attend more in-person interviews. Online conversations only give you the basics, but offline you really get the whole experience, like understanding the commute and whether the work environment and job responsibilities are truly what you want." The blogger noted that another benefit of attending multiple interviews is that you can quickly gain valuable experience. After each interview, she spends about 10 minutes reviewing and writing down the questions the interview asked, reflecting on which parts of her answers were weak and which were strong. That way, next time she can improve where needed and keep what worked well. This blogger resigned from her previous job in March and began job hunting only in the past month. One company invited her for interviews and she passed the first 2 rounds. And the third round also went very smoothly. She thought she had it bag, but just now she received a message from the HR lady telling her she didn't make it. She felt heartbroken. What could be the reason? I went to ask the HR lady about the reason. At first, she was very polite and vague, but eventually she hinted that I needed to work on managing myself. I was dressed relatively formally that day, wearing a business suit, so when she said managing, I felt like she was implying that I'm overweight. The job I applied for wasn't anything that required attending business events or making public appearances. It was just a behind-the-scenes role in new media operations. But today, I realize that appearance-based discrimination really does exist in the workplace. The blogger said that after graduation, the pressure from work caused her hormones to become imbalanced, which led to some binge eating, and she kept gaining weight. She wanted to change herself and has been trying to lose weight, but hasn't been able to slim down. She never expected that this would become the reason she was rejected in her job search. She said she wasn't very confident to begin with, and after this experience, she feels even more defeated. Guys, I really need to vent. Why is finding a job so hard these days? I believe my appearance is at least above average. Currently, I'm looking for a job as a live stream sales host, so I've sent out numerous applications on a specific job platform. The blogger noted that most of these applications were either not read or marked as read with no reply. He read some of them. Since I was auditioning as a streamer, I had to send him photos first, usually 3 or 4. After he looked at them, he asked if I could send him a few more. Actually, I'm a socially introverted girl with low self-esteem, so I don't usually take photos. So I told him I didn't have that many photos, and I said, actually, I could still do an interview. The blogger explained that she memorized numerous sales pitches at home, but she had no real sales experience. Her last job was as an e-commerce operations assistant, so the companies she approached were generally open to hiring new candidates or those with little to no experience. Although the blogger proactively requested interviews, they generally stopped responding, which puzzled her. She wondered if some positions had already been filled, and they weren't in a rush to fill them. They were posting the job online. Blogger Xiao Ran explained that one of her classmates, a master's graduate from Peking University, was laid off after working at a major internet company for just over a year. The internet market is deteriorating at an annual rate. Today, I'm envious of him making $5,000, but tomorrow he could be completely unemployed and have no income. A few days ago, I was chatting with a former colleague at a major internet company. He mentioned that the company was undergoing layoffs and he was on the list. However, in the end, the person who got laid off was the most proactive and worked the most overtime. Although he escaped a layoff, he feels his boss has been very pushy lately, talking to him frequently, and he thinks the next round of layoffs will be coming soon. It wasn't long after that, and when I chatted with him this weekend, he told me he was laid off. Blogger Xiao Ran said she envied her classmate who earned a lot working at a major internet company, and she envied Xiao Ran's stable job at a hospital. This classmate had only been working for a little over a year and had not received much compensation after being laid off. Fortunately, she had just graduated, hadn't bought a house, and wasn't married, so a mortgage didn't weigh her down. She didn't want to stay in Beijing anymore and planned to move to a city closer to home. The blogger said she graduated at 24 and has yet to find a job. Actually, I started preparing in July or August of last year, revising my resume and submitting it online. My strategy at the time was to apply to major companies, so I probably applied to 50 or 60 companies. I thought they were mid to large companies and the positions were good, so I used them all. The blogger said that in the end, only 2 or 3 companies contacted her for interviews, but the good thing was that those 2 or 3 were the ones she particularly liked. As it turned out, one major company interviewed me from August to November or December, 6 rounds of interviews, and I didn't get a chance. The blogger said another company told her the position was in Beijing. My preferred city is Guangdong. They said they had a branch in Guangzhou. The blogger asked, "Can you recommend me to the Guangzhou branch?" He said okay, and then nothing happened. I'm a 24th year undergraduate student at Shaoguan University, majoring in computer science. Like many others, I was one of the few college graduates in my village. 5 years ago, they all assumed I'd have a future with my computer science degree, until I started looking for a job during the summer of my junior year. Because my brother-in-law worked for a carrier in Foshan, I knew the pay was better there, so I sent my first application to a carrier in the same area. Perhaps with only a second-tier degree, I wouldn't even get an interview in a big city like Foshan. Still, a second-tier degree was enough in my hometown, so my first job was an internship at a career center in my hometown's county seat. Blogger Zhe Xiaojiang spent 2 months in his hometown, but unwilling to thrive in the small county, he took the initiative to ask his superiors for a transfer to the city. According to the process, internal referrals also require an interview. However, he had health problems on the day of the interview and was unable to attend. He lost the job and felt very regretful. The most frustrating thing about job interviews isn't the rejections, but the repeated frustrations that make you doubt yourself and dread interviews. When the interview yields nothing, you're left feeling extremely anxious and lost, unsure of what to do next. If you're currently job hunting, I have 3 tips for you. First, getting an interview is a good sign. It means your basic qualifications are sufficient, even if you're struggling with market competitiveness. The main problem lies in your interview skills, which are relatively easy to improve. Second, be sure to prepare before the interview, consider potential questions, and practice your answers. Afterward, be sure to review and summarize the questions you didn't answer well, whether it was due to a professional issue or something else. Third, stay calm. Failing an interview isn't necessarily a problem with your skills, so don't burn yourself out. The primary reason is that the job market is weak and the competition is intense. Dozens of people are vying for one position, and every time a position is issued, 95% of the candidates are destined to be runners-up. If you've ever failed your probation period, and by failed your probation period, I don't mean a mass layoff, but simply firing you because you were deemed unsuitable for the position. In such cases, there are 2 possible reasons. Most likely, there are 2. First, a poor work attitude. Second, poor interpersonal skills, inadequate communication skills, extremely low emotional intelligence, and a hostile work attitude. These are essentially the 2 primary reasons. One is work attitude, the other is interpersonal relationships. How are the 6 girls in our dorm doing now after graduating from undergraduate studies? We met in our naivete at Harbin University of Technology in 2017. We majored in software engineering in college, and after graduation, we all went on to work in internet-related fields. Time flies. Today, I even heard news that 2 of my college roommates are getting married. It's been over 3 years since graduation, and our lives have undergone significant changes. Roommate A successfully landed a job at a state-owned enterprise after graduation. She currently has a stable job and a good income, making her the envy of those around her. Roommate B and C are currently unemployed. After graduation, they both worked for 2 years at large internet companies, but the pressure and instability of these jobs were high. China's current employment pressures are no longer limited to grassroots positions or graduates from ordinary universities. Even doctoral students at top universities are facing significant challenges. Recently, a 30-year-old blogger known as Natural Curls, a recent doctoral graduate in liberal arts from Zhejiang University, posted a video on social media describing her unsuccessful job search, which garnered widespread attention. In the video, she confessed, "I'm completely unemployed now. I really want to know who said that graduating from a 985 university would guarantee easy job hunting." She recalled that after completing her doctoral studies over 4.5 years, she had assumed she would have easy access to her ideal company. However, now even interviews are difficult to come by. She said, "I'm already 30, and the higher my education, the harder it is to find a job. Small companies think I'm too qualified to hire, while large companies think I'm not worth the price. Every interview I've had has been a complete failure. I've come away with no offers. I have come to realize that under the double pressure of the economic downturn and layoffs, even a prestigious university background doesn't guarantee employment." She lamented, "Why is it so difficult to find a job these days?" A post about funeral home job openings went viral, highlighting the intense competitiveness of the job market. The Changzhou County Funeral Service Center in Changzhou City, Shanxi Province has posted a job posting for contract support and mortuary security guards, requiring candidates to be under 30 years old. The position requires 24-hour duty at the entrances and exits of funeral homes and cemeteries. Responsibilities include registering visitors, directing parking, assisting with business operations, and discouraging uncivilized behavior. The monthly salary is $460 plus a $28 annual performance bonus. Particularly concerning, the position also requires both a written examination and an interview. The written examination is a closed book exam covering basic professional knowledge. This job posting sparked a heated online discussion. Many people commented, "A security guard position requiring someone under 30 taking an exam and being on duty around the clock is simply outrageous." This also indirectly reflects the severity of the current employment environment. Recently, a woman from Guangdong applied for a job at a clothing company, requested 2 days off per week, but received a humiliating response from the employer, a matter that quickly garnered public attention. According to the Guangdong netizen social media post on August 16th, she expressed dissatisfaction with the one-day-off policy when applying for a job at a clothing company in Foshan, stating, "My current job has 2 days off, and I don't want to torture myself for a single day off." She applied for the job through the Youpao app. Chat logs show that the recruiter's response was highly inappropriate, including insulting remarks such as, "If you were pretty, I could let you rest every day. You deserve to be unemployed. And you're only fit to kneel in an office." The netizen filed a complaint to the platform, and Youpao app customer service responded on August 17th, stating that the company account in question had indeed violated regulations and had been frozen, preventing it from posting job postings. The incident quickly sparked widespread discussion online. Many netizens commented, "In Foshan, requesting 2 days off is practically a crime." Many companies in Guangdong only have 1 day off. Garment factories in Foshan basically only have 1 day off per month, and employees work overtime almost every day with no social security guarantees. A few years ago, I encountered a similar situation on Boss Direct Hiring. Simply requesting 2 days off resulted in scorn and ridicule from the HR representative. The employment environment is so poor, yet young people are always accused of not working hard. In fact, similar incidents of hiring discrimination are not uncommon in China. For example, on July 11th, a Shanghai woman named Zhu filed a complaint with Zhengzheng News, alleging that she had submitted her resume to a cultural media company through a recruitment platform and when communicating with the HR manager, faced discrimination and personal attacks for requesting 2 days off. They mocked her saying, "You still think you're in school, sleeping like a pig every day? You didn't graduate from a 985 or a 211 university," and even said maliciously, "I hope you'll never find a job." That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.